Hello, snakes. My name is Dante, and today it's Podcast Tuesday once again. And yeah, I'll be talking about all 17 best Zendikar Rising commanders from worst to best, and I'll tell you what strategies are good for those commanders and why they are good or why they are bad. I don't know. So yeah, let's just go into our combo of the week. And it is Ilharg, the Raised Boar, and Metamai, the Ageless. So how this works is basically you can use Ilharg to force Metamai to attack, and yeah, it is a 5-mana 6/6 legendary boar god. With whenever it attacks, you may put a creature from your hand onto value tapped and attacking, but return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. When Ilharg dies or is sent to exile from the battlefield, you may put it back into third from top. And Metamai is just a 6-mana 4/4, flying with whenever Metamai deals combat damage to player, take extra turn after this one. But you can't attack during extra turns. So, trick is, use Ilharg, attack with Ilharg, to put down Metamai from your hand onto battlefield attacking as well. You hit the opponent, take an extra turn, put Metamai back to your hand. Then it's your turn again. Draw card. Then attack with Ilharg. Put Metamai down again. And yeah, you basically get infinite extra turns. So you can just kill off everyone with that. Or you can just focus onto one player and just get extra turns until he dies, basically. And yeah. And you can follow up to kill off the rest of the players. It is such a good combo. So this is why this is the combo of the week. So let's just go to our number 17 card. And it is Verzol, the Split Current. Is an X green-blue 0/0 serpent who enters +1 counter on it for each mana spent to cast it. Whenever you cast a kick spell, you may remove 2 +1/+1 counters from Verzol. If you do, copy it, choose new target for a copy. And a copy of the permanent becomes the token, so yeah. And it only works for kick spells, you know? It doesn't work with other spells, so that's why Verzol is not a good card. Because if you have cards that synergize with kicking spells, then it's bad, because kick spells are usually overpriced and stuff like that, and it's like you're paying extra mana just to do one tiny effect, and so yeah, kicker is not really that good. So that's why Verzol is the worst commander from Zendikar Rising. And that is excluding the Zendikar Rising Commander series. I'm just talking about the main set right there. Yeah, I'm not talking about the commander decks. I'm just talking about the set itself. And which ones are the best commanders. And it has a bit of synergy with kick spell, but kick spell synergy is not good. Let's just go into our number 16. And it is Charit, the Raging Isle. 4-mana 0/17 legendary Leviathan Crab. Spells your opponent cast a target Charit cost 2 more to cast. Then you can pay 3 mana to give it +X/-X on turn of turn for where X is the number of islands you control. Oh, and on that note, The thing is that I put this on number 16 because, I mean, it is a good creature. Yes, we can agree on that. But it's not a good commander. That's the thing. Like, you put this into a commander. Okay, what is your strat? Because this has no synergy with anything at all. Just the only thing that's good is just the islands, nothing else. And like, come on, that's the land you're supposed to use in a blue deck or in a mono blue deck. So Charit is not really good as your commander. It's more like a card inside of the deck. So that's why I put it in number 16. At least it's better than this absolute rubbish, which is because yes, kicking does not work. So that's why I put Charit's better than Verzo. I mean, this is good. This is good, like as a type of like endless one, or yeah, it's good like an endless one, or a. But then the thing is that I mean, endless one would be better than that because you can cast endless one for 1 mana, but you can't cast Verzo for 1 mana. Also, you can cast also something better with like the Stone Coil Serpent. I think it was called like that, yeah. Which had like vigilance, reach, and protection from multicolored. So yeah, this is just not good. This is not good as a commander, but it's a very good creature. So I mean, since we're talking about commanders and commander strategies, this is a number 16. There. Let's just go to our 15, and it is Akiri, Fearless Voyager. It is a 3-mana free legendary core warrior. Whenever you attack a player with one or more equipped creatures, draw a card, you can pay white, detach an equipment from one of your creatures. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible until end of turn. So this is good with equipments, but things that it's only once per turn because having more equipped creatures will not increase the number of cards you draw. It's just, and also, I mean, at least it protects your equipped creatures, but detach them. Like, the only equipment worth detaching from a creature is Sunforger, because you can use the ability to detach Sunforger just to cast an instant or sorcery from the deck. So yeah. I mean, Akiri is a good card. I mean, equipment strategy is not really that good. If you want an equipment commander, I mean, well, red-white equipments, you can try using Akiri. Otherwise, if you go for mono-white, just use a Nahiri Lithomancer, I think it was called, yeah. And I mean, otherwise, you can use Akiri and put Nahiri in the deck. That is one thing. But still, I'm not really in favor of equipment strategies. So let's just go into card 14, and it is the simple number 14, Linvala, Shield of Seagate. So yeah, this is a 3-mana free legendary angel wizard with flying and ring of combat on your turn. If you have a full party, choose target non-land permanent an opponent controls. Until your next turn, it can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. So, but the thing is that you need to have a full party for this. I mean, she counts as a wizard, of course. But the thing is that it's hard to actually use to put lots of like adventuring party strategies. Like you have to like use Linvala and build a deck on clerics, warriors, and rogues, because you have the wizard part covered through Linvala. But 2 colors is not really enough. I mean, Linvala is inferior to that of Tazri, so I mean, Linvala is actually better to be used inside of the deck with Tazri as the commander, rather than using Linvala as a commander. But you can also sacrifice Linvala to give your creatures hexproof or indestructible until end of turn. So yeah, so it's kind of like it's like a heroic intervention, but for only one keyword. So yeah, it's very good. I like Linvala. That's the simple number 14 of the commander of the podcast, commander podcast. Yeah. Let's just go into our number 13. And it is Grackmore, Skyclave Ravager. 3 mana, 0/0 legendary Hydra Horror, but enters with 3+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, put a +1/+1 counter on Grackmore. When Grackmore dies, create an Ed-sets Hydra with where Eds is the number of +1/+1 counters on Grackmore. So this can be good in a +1/+1 counter deck because it'll be good if you put counters on your creatures. Then when they die, you go Grackmore, or even try and put counters on Grackmore. So yeah. So then when Grackmore dies, you leave behind a very big Hydra. So yeah. It's not really it is kind of cool, but you just need to use counters in there, like so stuff like that Winding Constrictor or Hardened Scales would be good in there. So yeah. So Grackmore is actually kind of good. And also you can use stuff like Skullbriar, which keeps its counters when moving into different zones, you know? So this is kind of cool. So yeah, Grackmore actually seems like a good commander. I mean, it would more likely be found in the deck and not as a commander. But still, I do like Grackmore as a commander. So let's just go into our number 12, and it is Zagras, Thief of Heartbeats. 6 mana, 4/4 legendary vampire rogue with costs 1 less for each creature in your adventuring party. Flying Death Touch Haste, your other creatures have Death Touch, and Planeswalker Death Touch. So yeah. Oh, Planeswalker Combat Death Touch, not just Planeswalker Death Touch. Because Vraska's tokens actually have Planeswalker Death Touch and Death Touch. But Zagras gives your creatures Death Touch and Combat Planeswalker Death Touch. So yeah. Also, Zagras is actually very cool. I mean, I think he'd be a better adventuring party commander than Linvala because the thing is that Linvala is only good with a full adventuring party, meaning that you need her, a warrior, a rogue, and a cleric, and it's hard to assemble a full adventuring party at the same time. It's hard to have the 4 creatures needed, so this is why adventuring party is not good, just like Kicker. But this, it only matters depending on, like, if you have one, it matters if you have an adventuring party creature, like a warrior, a wizard, a rogue, or a cleric, then that's good because it would just cost reduction. If you have all 4 of them, which is rare, it will be a 2 mana, and it's a 4/4. Yeah, and it actually is very good. So Zagras is actually a good commander, and so yeah, that's why it's a number 12 in the podcast. So let's just go into our number 11, and it is Yasharn, Implacable Earth. 4 mana, 4/4 legendary elemental boar with Wander's Battlefield. Search your library for basic forest and a basic plains. Put them into your hand, reveal those cards, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library. Players can't gain life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. So this is a good card if you plan on doing like a stats commander deck and just try and lock down everyone, because this commander will stop players from paying life or sacrifice non-land permanents. So just like, it's kind of like the, what is it? Yeah, it's kind of like the old Sigarda. You know, the which stops players from. Oh no, wait, was it Sigarda? No, I think Sigarda stopped the opponents from making you sacrifice creatures. No, it was a Angel of Jubilation, I think it was. Yeah, the Angel of Jubilation was the was the original. And now we have Yasharn, which is just like Angel of Jubilation but different. I think it was I think it was Angel of Jubilation. I'll just verify. I don't know. If it was not Angel of Jubilation, I think it was Jubilation Angel. I don't know, but still. It's just a good card either way. Let's just go into our number 10. And it is Zarfan, the Trickster. 5 mana, 4/4 legendary Merfolk Rogue with Flash. 4 mana and return an unblocked attacking rogue you control to a certain hand. To put him from your hand onto the battlefield, captain attacking. So this is like ninjutsu but for rogues. I mean, it is good for. So yeah. Oh, when deals combat damage to a player, you may put a permanent card from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So this is I mean, Zarfan is actually quite a good card for a rogue tribal deck, because I mean you can actually like cast him from the command zone, of course, but then you can use stuff like command beacon or even if he's on the field, you can bounce him. So then when you attack with a rogue, boom, you just put him in, and then just or then you can try and mill the opponent. So then when you hit the opponent with Zarfan, you take their cards. That's one way of doing it. So yeah. Also, not just that, Zarfan is actually it kind of like has like a ninjutsu effect, but for rogues only. Yeah. This is why it's a cool card, and I like it. Let's just go into our simple number 9. And it is Phyla, World Sculpture. So this is kind of like an Avenger of Zendikar, but as a commander. And when you're playing this commander, then you shouldn't use basic lands. You should use no non-basic. You should use non-basic. No, I mean you should use basics and fetch lands. But everything else, just don't use it, because this is just gonna create the plants. If you use more basic lands, then it'll create more plants. I mean, it'll put +1 counters on plants. Also, you can use play a plant tribal deck with Phyla and ramping as well. So this is kind of like it's a good commander. But if you try and put him into your commander deck, you better off go with Avenger of Zendikar, or you can use both. So don't use him in the commander deck unless if you're gonna use him as a commander, or if you already have a Avenger of Zendikar in there. So yeah, still, Phyla is actually a very good card. Anyhow, I mean, I actually had different thoughts about him before, but now he's actually a better card than what I thought. So Phyla is actually number 9. Oh, so let's just and so that's it. Why Phyla is actually kind of cool. Let's just go into our golden 8. And it is Tabriz, Hope's Demise, 3 mana 2/2 legendary demon cleric with flying. Has lifelink as long as he has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on it. And whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter in Tabriz. If that creature is a cleric, you may draw a card. If you do, you lose 1 life. So this is good for a cleric tribal commander deck in mono black. In fact, try this with Shadowborn Apostle. Just use Shadowborn Apostle, then just put some other demons in there, so you can use demons and apostles. So then you can go Tabriz, draw cards. Yeah, you lose life, but still. And then you get demons out and stuff like that. So Tabriz is actually a not bad commander. It's a good commander, and he works well with clerics because he allows you to draw cards if clerics die. But otherwise, then yeah, it still grows. And then if he gets bigger, if he becomes a 7/7 or like he has 5 more +1/+1 counters in it, he gets lifelink. So he'll start recovering the life you lost from sacrificing too many clerics. So you can draw cards safely, and you can even gain life of it. And this is like, and then you can just kill off people with commander damage with Tabriz. So yeah, this is kind of like it's kind of like, you know, Grackmore, but he's actually better because I mean Grackmore only if they have +1/+1 counters in it, but Tabriz is for all of them, not tokens though. But if they were clerics, it's a boost as well. That's a good thing. So let's just go into our simple number 7. And it is Drana, the Last Blood Chief. 5 mana 4/4 legendary vampire cleric. Flying. When she attacks, defending player chooses a non-legendary creature in your graveyard. Bring it back with a +1/+1 counter on it. It is also a vampire, so this is good for graveyard decks. You want to do like mono black graveyard or even just a mono black vampire tribal, because she turns them into vampires, so you can do special stuff that involve vampires. So this is actually very good, but I mean, I don't know. It's good as a graveyard strategy deck. Maybe vampires can be good, but I don't know. I'm not so sure if turning them into vampires would be a good idea. I don't know. What I do know is that it makes an effective graveyard deck. So this is why it's one reason it's good. So yeah, this is that's the number 7 Oh, hi Liz, how are you? Thanks. So yeah, this is why we put Drana in the number 7 slot. Let's just go into our number 6. And it is Ashaya, Soul of the Wild. It's a 5 mana, 8 sets, legendary elemental with power and toughness equal to number of lands you control. Your non-token creatures are also forests. And that counts as Ashaya, so Ashaya is also forest. So yeah, which is a very cool thing. So Ashaya can get very big, dealing a lot of commander damage. Plus, it turns your lands and creatures into lands. So I mean, so this means you can do like a lot of landfall effects because I mean, okay, you have one land per turn, but then you can also cast more lands from your hand as creatures. You know, creatures that are lands as well. So yeah, and you can use and they can tap for mana. You know, it seems cool. I like Ashaya, so I mean, you have Ashaya. At least it's gonna be a sit counting itself and 5 lands that you will need to cast Ashaya. But more creatures and more lands make it bigger. Which is just and if you pair it with Multani, that is actually very powerful because I mean Multani will just become bigger with all the creatures, lands, and then lands in your graveyard. Not creatures in your graveyard, but I mean lands in your graveyard. That's so that's actually kind of cool. Or just use it with Rampaging Brontodon, which means Rampaging Brontodon counts creatures as lands. So yeah, that is also a very powerful card, which also synergizes land synergy as well, and just landfall and stuff because landfall triggers when you cast a creature as well, which is gonna be good. That's why I like it. Let's just go into our number 5, and it is Kazza, Royal Chaser. 2 mana, 1/2 flying haste, human wizard. With tap, the next instant or sorcery spell you cast this turn costs X less to cast, where X is the number of wizards you control, as this ability resolves. There. It's a it's very it's a very good card because it will make your instant and sorcery cheaper. And it goes well with wizards and instants. If you use this as your commander, just play wizards and instants and sorceries, you know. Wizards and instants and sorceries. So that's a good strategy with Kazza. And yeah, because it'll make your spells cheaper for the wizards you have. Also, it has haste, which means you just which you can use it instantly or just attack straight away. Flying is also a good thing to do. You're not gonna kill someone with Kazza's commander damage, but what you will do is cast instants and sorceries cheaper for the wizards you have. So this is actually very cool. Like you have like lots of humans and like you have lots of wizards. Then you cast like big spells at cheap costs. You know, like World Fire, Enter the Infinite. You know these big things. So that's why Kazzas are number 5 for best Zendikar Rising commanders. Let's just go into our number 4, and it is Morog, Fury of Akum. 6 mana, 6/6 legendary Minotaur warrior with each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it attacked this turn. Landfall. If it's your main phase, you get additional combat after this phase. At the end of that combat, untap all creatures you control. So This is good with extra combat synergies, like, stuff like aggravated assault, or like aggravated assault, or hypersonic dragon, I think. No, not hypersonic dragon. There's this dragon that grants you extra combats if it attacks by paying mana, and yeah, or even stuff like Scourge of the Throne, which grants you extra combat if it attacks the monarch. And yeah, or I think it was a Godo the Bandit Lord, I think it was called, I don't know. Just stuff that grant you extra combats. Or Seize the Day. I think that was the name of the card. So then you get extra combats, because Murag grants your creatures extra power for each time attacked, or even just ramp as well with the landfall. So you get lots of combats. Just remember, when using Murag, just play the lands on your second main phase. So then you can untap the creatures that attacked in the first combat. If you use it before the first combat, then on the second combat they won't be untapped. That's the thing. So I suggest you to use Morag and play the lands on the second main phase. Just remember there's a second main phase. Keep that in mind. Yeah. Let's just go into our golden free, and it is remember to have Yamtore. And we have Tazri, Beacon of Unity. 5 mana 4/6 legendary human warrior that costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. And has 2 or blue, 2 or black, 2 or red, and 2 or green. To look at the top 6 cards of your library, you may reveal up to 2 cleric, rogue, warrior, wizards, and or allies from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this is a very good 5-color party commander, because it gets cheaper for each creature in your adventuring party to a minimum of 1 if it's full on a rare case scenario. And also will grant you the clerics, rogues, warriors, wizards, and allies. So this is actually a good tribal commander deck for these 5 creature types. And yeah, and adventuring party synergies. So Tazri is the number 3 commander. There are still 2 commanders that are better than Tazri in Zendikar Rising. So this is a very cool thing. Yeah. And let's just go to number 2. And it is Aura! Skyclave Hierophant. It is a 4 mana 3/3 legendary core cleric. With flying, whenever Aura, Skyclave Hierophant, or another cleric control dies, return target cleric card with lesser converted mana cost from your graveyard to battlefield. So this is a good cleric commander. Probably better than that of Tabriz, because it has white as well, so it allows you for 2-color commander decks. And things that when the clerics die, the smaller ones come back. So it's good to have Tabriz inside of the Aura commander deck. But Tabriz is also good as a commander himself. But Aura is a very good commander. Also, he is the Biobots promo of the set, even though he can be found in normal boosters. Yeah, I opened the foil one. It also has lifelink as well, which is cool. So I like Aura. Number 2 card. And yeah, this is a cleric tribal commander. Let's just go into the final card of the podcast. And we have the one and only 4-color Omnath, Locus of Creation. Yes, all of the colors but black for a 4/4 legendary elemental with 100 battlefield. Draw a card, landfall, gain 4 life for if it's the first time. Second time, add 4 mana. Third time, inflict 4 damage to each of your opponents and each of their planeswalkers as well. So this is very, very powerful. So this is like, and like the thing is that he was meant to be a very good commander for 4-color landfall decks and like lands and stuff, but thing is that he got banned in standard along with Uro. Yeah, Uro got banned as well, even though everyone disliked that. and yeah, Omnath is very good, and he is still played a lot in modern because of fetch lands and stuff. Because modern has fetch lands, so you can actually use easily get multiple effects of the landfall effect. So yeah, this is why Omnath is the number 1. But for the commander world, you've got lots of ramps. Like you got exploration, you got fetch lands. Even though everyone in the pod will hate you, you got evolving wilds and terramorphic expanse. Sometimes even use stuff like Fabled Passage or Prismatic Vista. And also you have stuff like, rampant growth and just these cheap ramp spells and stuff. Sakura Tribe Elder. And yeah, not just that. We have lots of elementals to support Omnath. Even though Omnath is not an elemental tribal commander, you can also try and pair it with the other 3 Omnath, the mono green Omnath that pulls the mana you have. Green red Omnath, which summons the elementals for the lands you play, and the triple color Omnath, which grows your elementals for the lands you play, and will start drawing you cards if you have 7 or more lands. So yeah, Omnath, Locus of Creation, that is the number 1 commander, and in Zendikar Rising so far. And yeah, we hope to see more better commanders in Kaldheim very soon. Yeah, Commander Legends was a good set, but probably the Commander Legends commander review would probably be a bit too overused. I don't know. So let's just try. So I just decided to just review all 17 legendary creatures in Zendikar Rising commanders, and review them from worst to best in commander ratings and like how are they good in commander. But still, congratulations, you've reached the end of the podcast. So why don't you like and subscribe and follow if you haven't already? Share with friends. Stay tuned to my next videos, streams, and podcasts. Podcasts will be live on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. CET. So stay tuned to those times. And also, for those of you that live in North America, just remember that is also at 11 Eastern time and at 8 Pacific time. At 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and 5 p.m. Central European Time. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye.